Thank you so much, Emily and Marie Paul, Perry, and everyone who has helped make this conference possible. There are many people that you'll hear about. There's some people supporting the conference, also have exhibit tables such as Clearview, Silver Hill. I want to say a few quick words. My professional career focuses on this disorder, including direct clinical work. Training is a major piece of it, research. I have such mixed emotions today and coming into this conference because on one hand, the work I do fills me with satisfaction. That there's help that can be offered, that people's lives improve. I'm a DBT provider. We focus on helping people have a life worth living, and I get to see people move toward that. And it just fills me with a real sense of purpose in terms of how I spend my time, what I devote myself to. And this conference fills me with joy and pride, just the fact that it's grown in so many ways. And our focus is the dark flip side of the disorder, which is the risk of self-destructive behaviors, in particular suicide. And I'm absolutely, not only is it something that fills us all with fear, I am completely horrified by the state of affairs with regard to access to services for borderline specifically, but also in terms of mental health systems that are not keeping up with the best science, with the best practices that are clearly defined. And you'll be hearing about these things today. You'll be hearing about just how far the science is progressing and things that could be brought into practice and need to be much more consistently brought in. I'm also horrified by the grossly inadequate funding that borderline gets in terms of research. There's wonderful research, you're going to hear about it. The reality is that if there was anywhere close to adequate funding for this disorder, there would be so many more researchers, so many more large studies, so many more young investigators who develop a love for serving this population, who won't get turned away from going for their initial grants, their initial training grants, young investigator grants, to pursue this direction. They actually get steered away from working with this population with borderline personality disorder, and it doesn't make any sense. And so I think this is extremely important for us to learn about, but to get involved with. Another thing I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. Another thing I have very mixed emotions about coming into this conference involves one of my co-directors, Emily Ansel, who is one of my most, for me, colleagues that I respect, esteem. I have been so happy to collaborate with her in a number of ways, including this conference, where I initially invited her to help out, and she is so busy. Also someone who devotes herself to research related to these issues. But she did because she believed in the cause, and she got more and more involved, and particularly over the last 3 years, really became the leader of the conference. So I've been devoted to this for the last 12 years. Quite honestly, she's the one who put this conference together and made it what you'll be seeing today. I've supported and we've worked together, but she's really done it. And because she is as incredible as she is at what she does, we are losing her here at Yale. She's been recruited to Syracuse University, where they are having her come in immediately as a tenured associate professor, where she's going to put together her research program, which will grow, and she will get to develop young investigators in a graduate program, and so I'm thrilled for her. I am nearly devastated at the loss. So the conference will go on. We will be here. We are already planning for next year. And, but I really, so I do want to actually just give a hand to Emily. Thank you for doing this. Okay, coming back, thank you. Coming back to the state of affairs, you all have elected to spend your day with us today, and it already indicates that this is on your radar, that you see these issues of suicide, borderline personality disorder as important, and yet coming to this conference is not nearly enough. And there's lots of research showing that going and getting some ideas at a conference doesn't actually change very much, unfortunately, unless you do two things. You apply what you learn. You take it into your workplace, you take it to your personal relationships, you find ways to incorporate what's offered. I see people standing in the aisle. Some of you are volunteers, but I think other people got caught in the rain. I'm going to encourage you, if you'd like to, find a seat. I think people will be understanding. Otherwise, but definitely do so before we get to our first speaker. There are definitely lots of seats available. If you're on the exit row, the aisles, and you like an aisle, maybe you can move in for now and then kind of switch back later if that helps people. We don't have a central aisle. Okay. Getting back to what I was saying, there's two things that you need to do, and one is you need to apply what you learn. I'll get there very quickly. There's going to be lots of tips, lots of suggestions, lots of things. I want to highlight one that I'm incorporating, which at this point, which is Barbara Stanley's safety plan that you'll be hearing about. Everyone needs to know what this is. Everyone needs to be prepared to either apply this in your clinical work or know about it if you're a family member or you are someone who has lived experience and struggles with suicide. It's a simple document that can make a big difference. So please attend to it and use it. Download it, get it, use it. So that's only one simple example. The other thing is, another thing we need to do is we need to address a cold irony of this disorder, which is that individuals with borderline personality disorder who struggle with self-destructive behaviors are painfully aware of how that affects everyone around them, how it affects particularly the people they love. And they tend to feel intense shame and don't know what to do with the burden, the emotional burden, the financial burden that they create. And Dr. Thomas Joyner has identified that that feeling of burden itself becomes a huge risk factor for suicide. So again, we need to figure out how can we support individuals in getting the help they need? How can we assure them that we are accepting of them where they are as best they can? How can we get the support we need ourselves and assure them that we're doing that? So I will encourage you to look for ways to do all of those things, to get the support, to give the reassurance, to give the acceptance, to be involved, which we've learned, and Perry Hoffman did the research showing that getting involved with their care helps them. But get involved in a way that shows that you are also taking care of yourself and they're not creating an undue burden. So these are very big issues. The final thing I will say, and I know we're getting a little behind on our time, is we must get involved with issues of advocacy. We need to get our voices out there. There is a simple way that you're going to hear about, which involves one of our tables, the Emotions Matter table. You'll meet, if you go there, I encourage you to meet Paula Tusiani Ang, and maybe you could hear about her story. But she can help you, and Emily's going to show you how to sign their petition to NIMH, get everyone you know to sign the petition so we can get some funding that is at all consistent with the amount of devastation that occurs from these problems and needs to be addressed, to people's devastation to people's lives. Get involved in that way. There is a walk to raise awareness for borderline in New York tomorrow. If you can't get there tomorrow, be there next year. Learn about that again at that table. And that's it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your attention today. And I hope to see you again in future years.